And welcome back to Sports Talk. Doug Miles along with Don Henderson as we do our post-Super Bowl weekend recap. And Don, you and I were just chatting before we went on here. We both, you saw more of it than I did. I saw enough of it. I know you're kind of happy because you know Andy Reid quite well, so congratulations to him once again. But kind of a wild weekend.
Yeah, it was. And I'll tell you, the best part of the whole thing, other than the second half of the game itself, was the fact that they opened up with Frank Sinatra, and they went downhill from there. Frank Sinatra opened the show, and boy, oh boy, I don't know enough about the halftime. I don't know the guest that well, and I don't know any of his songs, so I'm not a very good judge. But I understand only from my wife this morning that there was a lot of criticism about the halftime show, and as I say, I don't know any of his songs, and I couldn't, to be honest with you, Doug, I really couldn't understand any of the words. I don't know what they were saying. Yeah, so all there was a lot of production by whoever put it all together, and but it was not something that would appeal to me.
I don't think I've watched the halftime show in the Super Bowl probably since that Janet Jackson thing, and I was only on because it was, I think we were doing a broadcast from the radio station we used to be at, and it happened to be on the TV. That's the last one I watched. I mean, when the uniform fell off. So that's over 20 years.
I remember it well.
So I purposely, when I watched the game, would that half hour, I would go do something else. So I didn't pay any attention to it. But I read a couple of reviews. Apparently, a lot of people thought it was typically kind of vulgar.
I can't even say that. I can't even say I thought it was vulgar. I just thought it was. I didn't really understand what the concept was. I mean, they had a lot of dancers, a lot of fireworks, a lot of around them, backing them up, and a lot of production. I mean, they had hundreds of people dancing and jumping and doing all kinds of things. But as far as his presentation. Maybe he's very, very good when he does, an album song on TV by himself with just the orchestra. But you just couldn't understand anything last night. It was so loud. The music just said, he was all over the stage. And I don't know. Maybe other people thought it was better. I'm not a good judge on him. Usher was not somebody I knew much about.
I would have loved to have seen Frank Sinatra do a halftime show when he was still with us. That would have been good at the Super Bowl. They never asked him.
Yeah, he would have put together a great show. The big difference between when you have individual talent like he had, you didn't need all kinds of fireworks and productions and so forth. And but anyway, it was the first half I thought was a little shaky. You could have gone either way. I think that Kansas City was fortunate. No, they fumbled the ball in their own territory. A couple of the pass interception, and they fumbled in the first half. But they could capitalize on the other side, so that was a big advantage for Kansas City. You would think at that time that couple of an interception in right about the 50-yard line, and then the fumble was, I think, on the 25. And you would have thought that 49ers would have gotten some kind of, other than just 3 points, would have gotten something out of it. But that was about it in the first half as far as any offense was concerned. As far as I could see, it was not really even a thrust at getting other than a field goal for Kansas City. And hey, Kansas City dropped behind by 10 points. So they don't have any of it. They can't play. They had a 10-point lead, and they blew it. And Kansas City was a better team in the end. The defense held up. And to me, they were a much better team in the second half, and they won the game.
Yeah, that first opening drive of the game, lasted about half the quarter. And
correct.
Then they had that fumble, and that kind of took the air out of it, even though San Francisco did get that lead at halftime. But still, you almost felt at that point, Kansas City's going to hang in close, and then the second half they pull away. And that's sort of what happened until, it was a tied game, and then at the end, but it went to the overtime. But you had that feeling at that point it's going to be Kansas City's day. At least I did.
Well, the big point is that as far as I can see from all the things I watched on ESPN today, and I don't think they explained it very well on the national broadcast on CBS. I'm a big CBS listener, to be honest with you. Usually, I think they have the best combination of play-by-play and color analysts, but they didn't really explain very well, I don't think, the end of the first overtime period.
No,
watching it.
They almost didn't know the rule themselves.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I mean. They didn't know the rule. The San Francisco 49ers didn't know the rule. And all they're talking about today is how when you have an overtime game, you're not going by the natural rules that they use during the regular season. All it would have done would have been if they had not scored there, Kansas City, all it would have been they would have changed sides just like they would at the end of a regular quarter. And Kansas City would have taken over with 3 seconds ago at the other end of the field. But they didn't explain it that way. I mean, and from all accounts, none of the players knew it. They said they didn't know the rule. And whatever happened, the coach sent him out. He sent him out for the coin toss and didn't tell him what he wanted to do because he didn't know the rule.
Yeah, Shanahan
was very costly.
Getting some heat about that. I read a couple articles about that they should have
absolutely
kicked off rather than taking the ball. Yeah.
Exactly. You're exactly right. That's the whole, which I'll be honest with you, I didn't know till today. I didn't know
either.
That concept. But they all said, every one of the shows said, you can't take the kickoff. You got to kick the ball off when you have that kind of an over because you're going to keep playing, and you got a fourth down. If you take the ball, you don't have a fourth down. You get wiped out.
Right.
So it's very clearly defined today. But hey, that's a day late for the coach of the play. That's two Super Bowls in a row. Shanahan has made a mistake in Atlanta. He did exactly the same thing when he was the offensive coordinator under Quinn. He had the game won for Atlanta, and he threw that ball in the end zone. It was intercepted, and they lost the game for no reason. I mean, so consequently, Shanahan's 0 for 2.
It used to be, right, if you scored a field goal on your first possession, the other team had a chance to match or win or lose. But if you scored a touchdown, the game would be over. But that's not the rule anymore. It's in the playoffs. Both teams, if you score a touchdown, the other team gets a chance to match.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But I guess, from all accounts, Shanahan or whoever was in charge of making the call didn't realize what the new rules were or what the rule was. I don't even know if it's a new rule.
We don't have to know that. That's not our profession. They should know that.
Absolutely, they should know that.
Well, we're not in the coaching profession,
Every single person on ESPN today all said, Herman Edwards was on it, you don't ever accept the kickoff on the overtime. You always kick off. You don't let them. You don't let the ball. You know
what you need to do better than.
That's right, and you got a fourth down, and which you don't have if you do what they did.
Yeah.
They kicked the field goal, but the field goal cost them the game.
Wasn't that the most anticlimactic ending? I mean, a game-winning touchdown to win a Super Bowl in overtime. It almost like there was a delay before Jim Nantz even said, the game was over. Didn't you get that impression? It was like nothing.
Well, that's what I said. I don't think they clearly understood what the rule was either.
No.
And
the crowd was very quiet because it's not a partisan crowd in the Super Bowl. It's not like a home team or anything.
Right. Well, I'm watching the game, and as I say, I didn't realize until after the game when they had the post-game interviews and all, and then of course today on ESPN, everybody defined the rule, and but I knew nothing about it, and I just don't think they defined it very well during the course of the game. So we just had to put up with it. That's all.
You mentioned the CBS broadcast, Nantz and Romo. I know Romo's been taking a lot of heat the last pretty much this year, even before the year started. They were saying that the CBS management had to get on him a little bit because he thought he was being kind of lazy. I didn't see all of it. I can't make a judgment on that. I just saw the last part of it in the overtime. I'm not a big fan of his anyway as a broadcaster, but that's just me. But what did you think?
I didn't think it was bad. They said on Friday, I guess it was, the Post had a big story how the head of sports was leaving CBS, and before leaving, he brought Romo in. I had a big talk with him about preparation and, more importantly, talking about having more camaraderie with Jim during the course of the broadcast.
And don't be as excitable either. Kind of calm down a little bit.
And don't be a rooter. Yeah. Right. Don't be a rooter. Be a broadcaster. And so I don't think he did. I don't think they did a bad job. I don't think it was the best broadcast I ever heard, but I don't think they did a bad job. But again, Romo seemed to be more inclined to definitions of the game and not necessarily a rooter in the Super Bowl.
It's not Pat Summerall and Tom Brookshire anymore, is it?
No.
When
no,
they did
it certainly isn't.
CBS. Yeah, or even Madden. Yeah, not the same. But
no, well, they had sort of a camaraderie within the booth, and right now, all the broadcasts for, whether it's the regular season or the postseason, they don't really have any group. Like, at least I can't think of one that I think has the camaraderie that Madden and Summerall had, or Brookshire and Summerall had. And even, Jim Nance always has good camaraderie with the basketball people and the football people. But I guess the general consensus was that he just isn't working out with the present group. So we'll see what happens.
I guess the closest you could come to that kind of team is Buck and Aikman, which are now on ESPN. That's the closest to a Summerall and Madden, or Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen, that type,
Right, and they just transferred over. I mean, they came over as a team, so you're right. But
they have it on the air. I mean, there's a you can tell there's a good friendship there and a good broadcast camaraderie.
Yeah. But yet the Thursday night game, they dumped Michaels.
Michaels got shut out of the playoff game. He said it was in his contract that he did it, but they had to pay him for it, I guess. But he's got one more year left. It'll be interesting to see if they buy him out or if he's actually going to do the games next year.
I'm sure he's hopeful of doing the games next year, but you don't put him on the last game of the season and you shut him out from the playoff. I would think you're looking at paying him off for next season and looking for a younger and more charismatic group to. Yeah, but I don't know anything about that. But I'm just guessing from what I've read in the papers, the different articles about. I didn't think Michaels showed any great age during the course of the games. Now, I didn't watch many Thursday night games, but I didn't think he had lost anything, but they certainly did.
You mentioned Andy Reid before. Of course, you worked with Andy when he was with the Eagles, and he kind of put to rest, at least the article I read today, about retiring. He said he wants to come back and go for the three-peat, huh?
Yeah. Well, the big story really was between Reid and Kelsey when Kelsey came over, and I mean, he sort of accidentally pushed him, but he did hit him. And
I saw the article about that. I didn't see it live. Was it accidental bump, or was he actually mad and pushed
he was mad. He was mad because they weren't. He was open and they weren't getting the ball to him, and he came over and but as Herman Edwards said, a lot of excitement on the sidelines during games. People don't realize the tension on the sidelines. And he said, Kelsey got overwhelmed and came over. And when he came over, he almost Reid was standing on one foot. And I guess he saw him coming, but he didn't really brace himself. And he almost knocked him over. But he said, you can't do that. I mean, he said, you can make an excuse. It's Super Bowl. Everybody's excited. But, you can't hit the coach.
Andy, not the most athletic guy anymore either, so he wasn't ready for it.
No. And, well, fortunately, he didn't knock him down.
That's what I mean. It was a big, heavy guy. He could have hurt himself. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, there were a couple other people around him to sort of stabilize him. But, I could certainly understand how Kelsey was excited because they went back and showed a replay of the play before, which was an important play, and he was wide open and he didn't get the ball. But in the second half, he was a big part of the second half. He showed why he's an All-Pro in the second half. He caught a lot of big balls and made great yardage after catch. And so all is forgiven. And when they asked him on the post-game show last night, he said, I just went over to tell him I love him.
Well, at least you won't have to see camera shots of Kelsey and the girlfriend for a while.
No, I think Swift she's on the plane heading back to Japan.
She has concerts this week, right? Didn't she have to go right back?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I guess she went back this morning. I guess I'm not sure. I didn't have her personal schedule.
Wonderful.
But I'm assuming she went back today.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's all have the church service of her. Yeah. Of Taylor Swift Church. Yeah, that's oh man. I mean, can you have more articles in the New York Post and all the websites about her? The Post every day had something.
Well, today they had a load of stuff, and of course they showed her many times last night during the course of the game, and she was with 3 other women.
Some other rap singer that I never heard of. Nobody ever heard of. They were pushing her.
Yeah,
today.
But she wasn't with Kelsey's mother this time.
The mother
Kelsey's mother has been with. No, she was. At least I didn't see her. She was. Oh yeah, they bought a box for her, which was $1 million box.
Okay. Well, you and I were talking last week. I think within a few weeks or a month or two, there'll be an announcement out that they'll say, well, we want to remain friends, but we've decided to part ways. Our careers at this time don't mesh, something like that. I wouldn't be surprised.
Wait a minute, that's negativism. What are you talking about? That's negativism.
Just so we don't have to see it and read about it anymore.
We're going to read about it for a while, while she's on this tour, because I'm sure that he's going to take the next plane over.
Yeah, he'll be there, right?
Yeah, he'll be a part of the tour. She'll introduce him during the tour, and
I'll be interested to see what the ratings are. Have you seen an overnight rating yet? I'm sure the fans of Taylor Swift added about 10 million people to that broadcast, I would think.
They sure thought so the whole time that hey, listen, she's added so many people during the whole playoff situation that they're tickled to death. The pre-commissioner,
young girls and women, they were hoping would watch just to see her, in the stands every 5 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, they hope that she does it again, or the next one does it. But no, they were very, very positive with that. They won her there. They gave so much extra publicity that they would never have gotten, and how much it turned into ticket sales because the ticket prices were so high.
Oh yeah.
How many of these people could actually afford to go in and support her? I don't know, but I guess there's enough of them.
But they were going after. I mean, they figured girls and young women would tune in just to see the shots of her. Right. They won't care about the game, but they just want to see her. So that'll be interesting to see what the overnights are.
We'll see tomorrow morning. All the overnight should come out. They'll come out early tomorrow, either late tonight or early tomorrow morning. So we'll see what the early ratings are, and then we'll see what the total ratings are. But they're talking about. Over 100 million people. So
easily.
Easily. It's going to be a big. It's going to be a big because, they were 2 close teams. Wound up only a half point separation, betting, and so it's going to be a big. It's going to be a well-rated Super Bowl.
Yeah, the sports books. I read a couple of articles on that. They actually lost money, at least the ones I read about MGM, because it went to overtime. Also. I guess Kansas City winning too, but the overtime, a lot of people took apparently there was a prop bet that paid 9-1, so a lot of people took that. They lost several $100,000 on that. This is MGM. And then they lost because of Kansas City coming back and the over, I guess. But they said the sports books did not do well, at least MGM sports books.
How about that? I did not see anything on that today before.
I can't believe a sports book loses money ever, but this is what they said. I mean, they make money on every bet, so maybe they didn't make as much as they thought. That's probably what they mean.
Yeah, I was going to say. I don't remember any of them losing any money.
No, but the overtime apparently was a prop bet. At least at MGM paid 9-1. So if you took that, you did pretty well. Yeah.
I would have thought 9-1. I would have thought a lot of people.
Then the game would go to overtime, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas City was. They tied it, in the last few seconds of regulation. They had all the momentum going their way. I would have thought there would have been a lot of betting toward Kansas City, just because of the way they tied the game at the end of regulation.
Yeah,
but
I guess
maybe not.
And you can also bet during the game. I'd be interested to see how that goes. If you could bet.
Oh yeah, you could. They had 10 things you could bet on.
Yeah, right.
Right. You could bet how long the national anthem was. You could bet. Oh, they listed it. I don't know if it's a post or what paper I read it. They listed all the bets that you can make during the course of the game or before the game.
Right.
One thing that surprised me a little bit was just the win or lose is the biggest moneymaker for the bookmakers. And I didn't realize that.
No spread. You mean just money line? You're talking about?
Just if whichever way you took the game, the win or lose. That's the biggest. That's bet. The most money. That's the biggest bet of the whole.
The money line. It doesn't matter what the score is. I mean, what the spread is.
Yeah.
You pick the winner or loser. Yeah, right.
I did not realize that.
No, I didn't know that was the biggest one. I would figure the spread bet would be the biggest one. People seem to like to bet that more than the money line. But yeah, interesting. But,
well, we'll find it all out tomorrow. When of course the the bookkeepers probably won't. They probably won't release their numbers until
they have
bit later on in the week.
right.
Yeah, that's right. Till they have to. That's right.
Well, that kind of ends the football season. Pretty interesting one. At least the college football season is more interesting to me. But the pro season, I mean, congratulations to Andy Reid. That's his third Super Bowl win, right? He's been in 4, right? He's won 3 out of 4.
Yep, he's won 3 out of 4, and one with the Eagles first, and now he's won 2 in Kansas City. And they're all talking about next year. But hey, next year's a long way away, and a lot of players have to be signed to the free agents and the drafts and all the other things. Very, very difficult. It's been 20 years since teams won back to back.
Yeah.
So it's not easy. And as Mahomes said after the game, we're gonna be ready to play next year. And they all say that, but it's very, very tough to come back and win 2 in a row, much less 3 in a row.
Well, nobody's won 3 in a row, have they? The Patriots didn't win 3 in a row, right? They won.
No,
4
2
out of 6 or something like that, like the Steelers.
Yeah,
right. So nobody's won 3 in a row. Yeah, teams have been in 3 in a row Super Bowls. The Dolphins were in 3 in a row, but they didn't win 3 in a row. Right. So it's something to shoot for. I guess that's why he's coming back. How many chances do you get to win 3 in a row? So Andy Reid.
Well, as long as you're healthy and all the rest of it. I mean, as I say, and he said the same thing when he was on the post-game show last night after the game. There's a lot of changes between now and next year. How many people are you going to have that are going to be in place to replace some of the players that are going to be leaving?
Right.
One of them is one of their defensive ends. I can't think of his name right now, but he was the biggest concern because he's 30 years old. He's all pro. He's everything, and he's now played his contract out, so he's going to be a free agent. And, they're speculating that he's going to have to be paid over $20 million a year.
Right.
So that's going to take a lot of money out of the money that they have before you go over the cap.
Yeah. All the machinations of contracts, that can change a lot in the offseason. But
can they ever?
Yeah. Well, Don, that'll wrap it up for just want to do a little Super Bowl recap, and we will see what happens. But we look forward to talking to our scheduled guest. We're going to talk a little baseball today, but we'll reschedule that. But, Don, good talking a little football, but let's move on to some baseball next time, huh?
Absolutely. Ready to go. Spring training started today. The Phillies opened camp in Clearwater. Baltimore will be opening camp here this week in Sarasota. So we're ready to go for baseball in the summertime.
Sounds good. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you again.